All right, everyone. We start off today with funny news. Of course, Jake Tapper really screwing the pooch with regards to the Brian Cole Jr. story. CNN putting out its news. Jake Tapper's on the air and announces that that Brian Cole Jr., the one that planted the pipe bombs in D.C. on right before J6, that he was a white dude. And of course, liberals were briefly, very briefly cheering until they put the picture of the actual alleged suspect up there. He's actually black. Turns out that his dad has actually worked with anti-discrimination lawyers before and stuff like that. Then we get separate news, right? So we'll talk about Jake Tapper in a minute. But then we get separate news that the Biden administration had various intel, but it didn't actually do anything with it. It was effectively just literally gathering dust. It was shelved away. I have a feeling I know why this is. It would have been very, very inconvenient, I think, to the Biden administration if you start off with a bang quite literally, realizing that in all likelihood, those pipe bombs were planted by a leftoid to try to injure people that were marching that particular day. And by the way, that this individual posed more of an imminent threat than any of the people that actually marched into the Capitol that day. That wouldn't have been good for the bottom line propaganda-wise now, would it? I think that that would look pretty bad. So are we going to find out that this individual was on antidepressants or part of some militia or something like that? Again, just like I said yesterday, I have the sneaking suspicion that there's something really, really weird about this story. And there has to have been a reason why, if the Biden administration already had intel that could lead to an arrest, there's got to be a reason why that never happened. Because, years and years went by and nothing was done. The investigation had gone cold, even though apparently they already had all sorts of digital intel and stuff like that. This was announced the other day. As far as Jake Tapper, this just shows the remarkable intelligence of the legacy media. It reminds me a little bit of the time that CNN told people that they weren't allowed to read the WikiLeaks releases, that CNN had to report what they needed to know from them because it was illegal to read them. That's not, by the way, true in any way, shape, or form. This is a similar level of absolute disregard for the average intelligence of the public. And this, I think, is why the legacy media in part is dying, because they are patronizing to other people. They look down on them. We're the ones that are going to report the truth. You don't get to make up your own truth. If you try to, then we'll just label it disinformation. It's become a real big problem, although I will admit that the problem seems to be ebbing away because more and more people are not trusting the legacy media. By the way, I hate it when I look at polls about trust in the media and people will claim some sort of victory because, the majority of the population doesn't. But there are still tens of millions of people that are paying attention to these morons. How can you possibly pay attention to somebody who so blatantly lies? It's blatant. The graphic goes up on screen. The dude is clearly black, and Jake Tapper is claiming that he's a white man. He didn't get the memo. Maybe it's just because he was just reading the script. They rushed it out because they had breaking news and shit like that. But then they, failed to identify basic skin color. Like you can just go into that in Paint and siphon a random pixel and then extrapolate it to a whole screen. I don't think that that looks like somebody who's an albino or something like that. So this is a weird case. And it's getting weirder by the day. Again, we don't have many further updates actually at this time, other than we know the Biden admin already had intel years ago and did not do anything with it. Again, there must be a reason for this. I suspect that it's partially racial. And then we have this nonsense with Jake Tapper and the legacy media's propaganda. That's why liberal networks have quietly shoved this story to page B. I wonder fucking why. The Biden administration had the intel. They didn't release it because they're probably afraid of a race war or something like that. Black dude plants a bunch of explosives in front of, buildings in DC right as people are set to march in large numbers. There's probably a connection between these two things. This is presumptively a far left individual who was attempting to kill a bunch of MAGA marchers. Maybe even to try to kill Trump himself. We're not sure. This was pre-planned, it was premeditated, and, arguably he's being undercharged at this time. Now, this is all allegations. We're not 100% sure that this individual is even the one responsible because there are other claims that a certain female DC cop actually was involved with the planting of this material. But we don't know. And we probably never will. I mean, if an administration can sit on those files for 4 fucking years and never arrest anyone or release any meaningful information to the public, and really doesn't seem like it wanted to talk about it at the time again, I wonder why, then we might not get any further information at all. We've had cases where information which is pertinent to criminal cases and stuff, has simply been disappeared. I would not be surprised if the former administration did destroy documents related to this investigation as soon as they figured out, hey, Trump's going to be back in office. Oh shit, quick, we got to clean things up. That would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form either. This happens repeatedly. It's corrupt, it's wrong, it's certainly a miscarriage of justice, but it does happen. As far as whether Brian Cole Jr. is actually the perp, we're not sure. They say that they have evidence of it, but we're not 100% sure. I'm assuming that the answer is probably yes, though. If the former administration covered it up, there was a corrupt reason to do so. Therefore, ergo, I'm assuming that the person who has been nabbed with the release of new information and so forth probably did that was the whodunit moment. That's my assumption, though. We're not 100% sure. And of course, he's still going to get, his trial and stuff like that. I've seen liberals, defending him saying, "Oh, what about the right to a trial?" Yeah, like Trump got a fair trial, by the way. I'm sure he's totally amenable to that. Like many people get fair trials. That's a rarity these days in the United States. But as far as any further updates, I will be continuing to look at this story. I have a feeling that you're going to have less material to go on, though, because the case is so goddamn sketchy on pretty much every level that there's got to be some sort of cover-up. Something has to be wrong here. It's just a matter of what exactly is wrong. So we're probably going to have to intuit it because we're not going to get any more meaningful information, certainly from the prior administration that may have sanitized it anyway. And the Trump administration now has to go through all the friggin' paperwork and evidence and stuff like that, try to build a timeline, try to build a case. And this can take a while. If it takes you 5 years almost to arrest somebody who attempted to, it appears, bomb a bunch of protesters, then how long is it going to take you to put them on trial? Very, very strange case indeed. That's about all. Peace out.